After dominating the first 3 games of the series, outscoring New York 30-8 and banging 12 home runs over those 3 games. Cruising to a 10-6 win in the opener, 12-0 in Game 2, and behind Puig and Grandal's home runs last night, an 8-2 win. Welcome inside. Joe Davis or Hershiser. Lorenzo joins us in just a moment. You know all about Bellinger's home run power. We saw Corey Seager with a 3 home run game earlier in the series, but then last night it was Puig and Grandal going deep.
Yeah, the battery made half of it. Grandal behind the plate, a multi-home run game, the 8th of his career. This guy has been hot of late. If you need a fastball turned around above 95, he's one of the best in the big leagues. And at home, hitting .322. That leads the Dodgers in home average. He has really carried them here at home. And Yasiel Puig, he hides down in the 8th hole. He can't hide very much anymore, though, from opponents. Second on the Dodgers with home runs, second in RBIs, and believe the discipline has continued to grow. Second in walks. This guy is a powerhouse that lengthens this lineup.
Grandal gets the night off. Puig is in there. And for more on the lineup, here's Alana.
Well, Joe, with left-hander Steven Matz on the hill, Dave Roberts an opportunity to give a couple of regulars the day off. Chase Utley, the left-hander, getting off of his legs, and Corey Seager getting a rare day off as well. As far as the defense is concerned, you have Chris Taylor at the shortstop position and Kike Hernandez in center field. Dave Roberts saying that, of course, Taylor a bit more comfortable with the infield, and with the fly ball pitcher on the mound tonight, feels a bit better with Kike in center. He did say, however, it's a toss-up.
All right, Alana, that fly ball pitcher, Hyun-Jin Ryu, facing Steven Matz of New York. We've got first pitch here in the series finale coming up from Dodger Stadium. perfect night for baseball. Ready to start this series finale between the Dodgers and the New York Mets, with the Dodgers looking for a 4-game sweep and a 7th consecutive win overall. The Mets starting lineup tonight is penned out by Terry Collins, brought to you by Honda, and started off by Curtis Granderson. Wilmer Flores starts at third base and bats second. Then it's Cespedes in left. Jay Bruce, the cleanup man, is in right field, with Travis d'Arnaud catching and hitting fifth. At first base, Lucas Duda, only his second start of the series. Jose Reyes at short, and the rookie Gavin Cecchini bats eighth and starts at second. Saturday against Cincinnati, Ryu gave up 2 runs over 8 innings, gave over 6 innings, and got his first win in a month, and now faces the Mets. He was moved up, originally scheduled to start tomorrow against the Rockies, but Dave Roberts switching those two. Alex Wood moving back to start the opener against Colorado.
It can be said that that was done for rest, and has also done a little strategy. Ryu getting to go against the weaker opponent, really, in the Mets. And Ryu's really morphing into a different pitcher than when he was a full-time starter. When he started here with the Dodgers, throwing a lot more off-speed pitches, so you have to look at the strike percentage on those and the command once he throws strikes. When he does well, he throws them for strikes and keeps the ball down. When he does poorly, he throws the off-speed pitches to get back into counts, but they're elevated, and that's when he gets hit.
The Dodgers 47-26, a full game ahead of the Rockies for first place in the West, after the Diamondbacks got another blowout win in Denver earlier today to take 2 of 3 in that series. Dave Roberts has led his team to 12 wins in its last 13 games, 20-6 over their last 26. Off we go with strike 1 on Granderson. What a rude greeting for Rich Hill last night. Homered on the second pitch of the game. Then driving a run with a double, with the Mets down to their final out in the 9th inning. And so even with the left-hander on the mound, Terry Collins has him in the leadoff spot again. Two and one.
You see already that Ryu has thrown 2 out of 3 pitches that were curveballs, and the other one, the one fastball to start the game. Really has a lot of confidence now in the off-speed stuff.
Granderson again drills one to start the game. That ball is gone, and for the second night in a row, Curtis Granderson hits a leadoff homer. It is the 44th time in his career he started a game with a home run.
Fastball right here, and it's right down the middle at 92. Ryu does not even look. He knows it's gone. Ball has been carrying very well here in Los Angeles since the weather started to heat up.
Granderson's 9th of the season. The Mets with an early 1-0 lead. Wilmer Flores doubled following the home run in the first inning yesterday, and here takes ball 1. 302 home runs in Granderson's career now. When you look at him, the eye test doesn't tell he's a 300 homer guy. Longevity helps. He's been around for a while. And a lot more pop than his frame would suggest.
Kevin Long, the Met hitting coach, who was his hitting coach when he was with the Yankees, really squared him away on hitting for power consistently. Curtis used to wrap his hands around his head and really get him stuck and have to come around everything. Kevin Long moved his hands away from his body, and so they'd have a clearer path, and has really helped him against left-handed pitching also. That bat is in the hitting area for a long time with that powerful swing.
2-2 on Flores. But it was an awful start to the season for Granderson, and really when it was looking like Yoenis Cespedes was ready to come off of the DL in late May, a lot of people thought that Granderson could find himself without any job. But he's saved his season, hitting above 300 over the last month. And home runs on back-to-back nights for him.
We've seen that with a veteran player on the Dodgers side with Chase Utley, looking like he was going to play himself out of a job. But these veterans are finding a way to not only survive but thrive.
Flores starting at third tonight after starting at first last night. This is more of a natural spot for him. Terry Collins. Season-long nightmare so far. They've dropped 7 of 9 and a season low, 9 games below 500 right now. Another 2-2, and Flores fouls another. Mets are 31-40. 11.5 back of the Nationals in the East. And an even larger deficit when you're talking about the wild card. Flores pops this one up. In right field, Yasiel Puig for the first out of the night. So here comes Cespedes, and we saw last night Cespedes talking to Puig after Puig's home run and the confrontation with Wilmer Flores rounding first. And you know, it looked like there was like some lecturing going on from Cespedes and Reyes to Puig. And as we talked about during the pregame show tonight, you can go back and find plenty of clips of Yoenis Cespedes admiring his own home runs. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with what Puig did either.
It's not time to give a class on how to run the bases after you hit a home run when you're one also that watches them, and takes about 9 seconds. I timed one of the home runs the Cespedes hit to get to first base. And I think we're in the entertainment business, and if you do something well as a hitter now, the culture is go ahead and celebrate it. Don't show people up, but you can celebrate it. But then don't be hypocritical if all of a sudden a pitcher strikes you out in a big situation and he fist pumps or he cheers himself in some way.
Ryu gets him. Nice off-speed pitch for out number 2. This is against Alex Wood in the postseason a couple years ago. He added the bat flip to it. And like we talked about during the pregame, of course the argument there could be that, you know, he was emotionally fueled because it was the postseason. And while this was just one of 162, it's still a major league home run. There's still emotion behind it.
Well, Yasiel plays with emotion every night. He doesn't differentiate in effort level between regular season and playoffs. Maybe somebody else should look themselves in the mirror and say, maybe I should play with more effort and intensity on a daily basis compared to just waiting to show the emotion and the intensity when the playoffs come.
Jay Bruce in an 0-1 hole. Here comes Ryu. Breaking ball yanked at Justin Turner's position in the shift. And after the leadoff home run from Granderson, Ryu retires the next 3. The Dodgers come to bat against Steven Matz when you come back. ready to bat, having averaged 7.5 runs per game over their last dozen. Here's their lineup, brought to you by Honda. Forsythe leads it off. Then it's Taylor hitting second and playing short with Corey Seager getting a night off. Justin Turner's back in after his day off. Bellinger hits cleanup. Kike Hernandez in center batting fifth. Franklin Gutierrez a rare start. Austin Barnes does the catching for Ryu, who bats behind Puig. Steven Matz is 26 years old, and a cool story in that he's from Long Island, New York. Grew up in a family full of Mets fans. The Mets drafted him in the second round a few years back, and he's now in his third year with Major League time.
He's dealt with elbow issues throughout his career in the minors. Tommy John surgery. This last year had some bone chips removed from his left arm. Flexor tendonitis. But he is healthy now and in his third start this year. Has abandoned the slider and just throws the curveball and the changeup now. Probably feels like that puts some pressure on that elbow. So it's fastball, curveball, change. Fastball top out about 95.
2 balls, no strikes on Forsythe. First start, 1 run over 8 innings against Atlanta. And in his next start, which was against the Nationals on Friday, gave up 4 runs over 7. But 2-0, ball 3. The injuries you mentioned, the bone spur surgery came last fall, and then started feeling some pain in his elbow and in his forearm again this spring. So they shut him down, and he missed the first 2 months. A 4-pitch walk to start the night for Forsythe. So a runner at first and nobody out. Chris Taylor to the plate. Making his first start of the season at short. Corey Seager had started 20 games in a row, and the Rockies coming to town this weekend. If Dave Roberts was trying to get him a day off, this was the logical one. First strike of the game thrown by Matz. Dave trying to get all his regulars time here because the Dodgers are in a stretch where they play 20 consecutive days and 26 days out of 27 leading into the break. Oh, 0-2.
Chris Taylor finally at home. Shortstop, his favorite position. Really where he feels most comfortable, but has really made his impact with the bat in all the other positions. And that's why he's here in LA, and they're trying to find him at bats anytime they can. Corey Seager rarely takes a day off.
High, strike 3. Angel Hernandez calling balls and strikes. And Taylor's the first out.
Take a look at the Audi pitch cast right here. It is right there in the strike zone.
I feel like he's had an inordinate amount of borderline pitches go against him the last couple days.
He's the kind of guy that has a good eye, and we see him foul off a lot of pitches and on time. So yeah, it seems like that.
Justin Turner. Yesterday off after his 14-game hitting streak came to an end in the second game of this series. Strike 1. Turner hitting .390. That is far and away the best average of any player in baseball. He's still just trying to play catch up as far as the leaderboard goes, trying to get enough at-bats, plate appearances to qualify following his few weeks on the DL. Off speed is in, and it's 0-2.
You're going to have to watch yourself on ball strikes with Angel Hernandez back there. He's a little slow sometimes as far as when he raises the arm.
Turner hits a fly ball to right that Jay Bruce settles under. 2 out.
First baseman number 35, Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger comes up. It's an extra buzz in here anytime he does right now. More homers and more RBIs than any player in baseball since his debut in late April.
Interesting, in the pregame show, Ned Colletti and Alana were interviewing Chase Utley. And of course, Cody's name came up. Corey Seager in the same comments. And it was about their humility and how they both are very humble with their success, but that leads them to always seeking to get better, not resting. And both of them are that way. It's nice to hear that from a teammate. They have the inside perspective on these guys' personalities, what they show publicly or on the field compared to what's going on behind the scenes in the batting cages or the relationships with the coaches or players. We had an idea Cody was that way, though.
Oh, and 2. I've got to imagine for Cody and for Corey, getting that compliment from Chase Utley is the ultimate.
And that's what Chase was really describing, as that there's so much upside for those guys. And yeah, I think he includes Chris Taylor in that comment also. Is that you see their great athletic ability and you see the production that they're putting on the field now, but what gives him hope for the future for them to improve and continue is that humility base.
Forsythe at first with 2 out, and a 1-2 pitch from Matz to Bellinger. On the corner for strike 3. So a leadoff walk, but then the Dodgers down in order, and after 1-0. For the second night in a row in a 1-0 game. Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. And Jin Ryu sat down the next 3 that he faced after Granderson's homer. So 5, 6, and 7 coming up in the second. Travis d'Arnaud. Been a lefty killer this year. One ball and no strikes. On the ground is short. Chris Taylor with his first chance there this year throws d'Arnaud out for the first out.
You get the ball.
Yeah, right.
Souvenir. First 6-3 of the year.
Duda.
Brings up the local guy, Lucas Duda, from Riverside, and then played his college ball at USC. Like many of the guys on this Mets team, he's been battling injury issues all year. Nicely placed fastball, strike one. Missed 3 weeks with a sore elbow. He missed much of the spring with tightness in his hips and his back. It's after he missed more than 100 games last year with a stress fracture in his back. 1-1. Breaking ball catches the top of the zone, and it's 1-2. Ryu's 1-2. Duda tries to lay off and does. The count evens.
You see that they think Duda can't hit the breaking ball. Ryu likes to carve that up and sometimes make it short and tight and keep it on the plate, and then after establishing it for a strike, walk you off the plate, expanding.
Went to the fastball, missed by a touch, full count.
I love the pitch selection because the hitter views it as, oh, that's a breaking ball, that's a ball for sure, and then oh, it's like, oh, it's a fastball, and it's staying there, and he just misses. Very easily could have been a lock-up strikeout.
Lucas Duda leading off the second and walking. Always been a guy that has had an above average walk rate and works a nice at bat to reach to open this with one out in the second.
Jose Reyes.
First free pass issued by Ryu brings up Jose Reyes. Two of those 6 home runs came earlier this week against Clayton Kershaw. 0-1. One ball and one strike. Barnes can't squeeze it. Duda's headed for second and in safely. So the Mets have a runner in scoring position with one out here.
This might be a wild pitch, but Austin Barnes will tell you with his defensive skills, he probably should have been able to keep it in front of him. It went right through the wicket after he attempted the block. It looked like it hit the glove and went between the legs.
So now a 2-1, and Reyes pulls a bouncing ball foul, 2-2. 34 years old and his 15th major league year now. Started his career with the Mets, was there for 8 years, and then to Miami and Toronto and Colorado. After that stability for almost a decade, he was on 3 different teams over 4 years. That one's inside the back, knocked down by Turner to at least save a run. Duda hangs on at third on a base hit from Reyes.
From the right side, Reyes is a hooker. He just likes to pull the ball and come over top of it. Dodgers had their defense set for that, but just out of the reach of Justin Turner. Chris Taylor was over in the hole, and Justin was slightly to pull, but that one just gets out of reach.
Keeps the double play in order, though, by at least getting his glove on it, and keeps Duda from heading home, putting the pressure on Gavin Cecchini here. He, like Reyes, homered against Kershaw earlier in this series. Slips out of Ryu's hand for ball one.
With one out here, first and third early. Dodgers playing double play depth up the middle. Looking for the double play ball. Slightly to pull in the infield.
Fly to left center field. Franklin Gutierrez and Kike Hernandez over to make the catch. Here's his throw to the plate. Perfectly done! A bullet from Kike to end the inning. Talk about the captain of the outfield taking charge on that ball, knowing that he had the stronger of the two arms, and then proving it.
Waves off Franklin, knowing it's in left field. He'll take it, and then running sideways, but throwing it accurately.
Get Duda as we take a slow-mo with Kona.
Kike calling off Franklin Gutierrez, understanding he has the stronger arm and he has the wheels to get over there to left field to cut this one off. And then the impressive part is the arm. One hop strike to Austin Barnes. Easy tag for the receptor behind the plate. Nice play, Kike.
And he leads off this inning against Steven Matz, taking strike one. Has been so valuable for this team defensively this year. Preserved the game against Cincinnati Sunday, playing left field, going away, taking away an extra base hit from Joey Votto. Corked down the left field line, foul. Even without the sparkling plays, just the fact that he is as versatile as he is, that's huge for Dave Roberts in this roster.
He can make excitement happen, and it's all over the field. And what's really interesting this year is the bat has woken up, and now Kike is gaining confidence. He's not only producing while he hits, but he's gaining a lot of confidence where you almost expect it now.
Down swinging here on a fastball, and Matz has his third strikeout.
Fielder number 28, Franklin Gutierrez.
Because the Dodgers have not seen many left-handed starting pitchers lately, this is only the third start in the month of June for Gutierrez.
Dodgers have turned the narrative around with left-handed starters, left-handed relievers. They were shipping them in from anywhere to have them start against them in April. Juggling rotations to get a lefty against them.
1 ball and no strikes. The Dodgers last year were the worst hitting team against left-handers in baseball. This year, by many measures, they're in the top 10. 1-1. Ball 2. Talking about teams throwing as many southpaws as they could at the Dodgers early on. Over the first 23 games, more than half of the starting pitchers the Dodgers saw were left-handed. Gutierrez pops it foul, and it's 2-2. Since then, though, so they've gone from seeing a lefty just about every other game to 8 times in the last 50 games.
That is a big change. Some of it because some of the rotations had less left-handers, and also the way the Dodgers are hitting them.
National League West is the most left-handed division in baseball as far as starters go, and the Dodgers have spent much of the last month and a half playing out of the division.
The Giants went out and got Matt Moore last year just to try and finish off that race, and then Madison Bumgarner this year getting hurt in his dirt bike accident. That takes a lefty out of the West.
So full count on Gutierrez with the bases empty and 1 out.
I tell you, it's refreshing for the players not to have to be asked the questions about it. They were getting tired of it for sure.
They earn the right to not have to hear about it anymore.
Yeah, lately they've had that chore of coming up with superlatives to describe their team and the role they're on. Another winning interview.
Hard hit to the hole, it's short. Reyes takes his time, zings it over there to get Gutierrez for the second out. We go down to Alana.
Joe, last year, of course, the narrative that these guys couldn't hit left-handed pitching has kind of trickled into this season, at least at the beginning of the year. But when asked about it earlier today, Dave Roberts said, you know what, we've been hitting them now, and teams understand that. They think that they've been matching the Dodgers straight, and they've really shown that they can hit left-handed pitching. Of course, last season, the Dodgers were last in average, last in on-base percentage, last in slugging against left-handers. That has certainly improved this year, and Dave Roberts knows that his team isn't afraid to go up against anybody, regardless if they're left-handed or right-handed.
Austin Barnes taking strike 1. RBI single last night and a pinch hit roll. And now getting the start in this one for Grandal. 1 ball and 1 strike. One of 2 Riverside products in the starting lineup for the 2 teams tonight. We mentioned Lucas Duda. Barnes knows him some from both growing up there. They went to rival high schools. Duda's a few years older, but got to know each other. Said he's a good guy. Matt Solm with a 2-1 on the corner, 2-2.
Austin Barnes, part of the resurgence of the Dodgers hitting lefties. He's hitting a clip 297 versus left-handers. And a lot of guys that career-wise usually hit lefties didn't hit them last year. Kike Hernandez being one. 276 off lefties. Logan Forsythe, a big acquisition to hurt left-handers. 355 this year.
Barnes with a 2-out walk to bring up Puig.
And believe it or not, Justin Turner, who was hovering around 400 so far this year, didn't do well against lefties last year at all, but he's hitting 368 off of him.
Well, both sides saying publicly that what happened last night is behind them. The Dodgers quickly said that. Terry Collins said it. I guess I shouldn't qualify or include everyone, and the Mets side saying they're beyond it. There were some pretty strong comments post-game from Mets players. That's ball 1, and it kicks away from d'Arnaud, allowing Barnes to move into scoring position. I've got to think, though, that Puig still has to take that thought in the back of his head to the plate each time tonight.
Maybe a little bit. I don't think he's going to get hit. I think it's more about if he gets over to third base. Or I really believe if you showed the Mets highlight films as Yasiel gets intentionally walked verbally, if you showed them highlight films of themselves showboating a little bit as they come out of the box or stay in the box after home runs, they would all of a sudden say, you know what, we're just sensitive right now. We understand it's part of the game, the celebration of a home run if you hit it a long way. Terry Collins sure got it. He goes, we got much bigger problems than worrying about somebody's home run trot.
Yeah, I don't know if they were 40 and 31 as opposed to 31 and 40 that there would have been the complaints like there were last night. Wilmer Flores was the most outspoken. He was the first one to have a word for Puig when he rounded first, and he was the last one to have a word about it in the clubhouse last night. And he even said, I mean, Flores was honest about it, we're not doing well right now. This is no fun. But it felt like Puig was kicking them while they were down. And
well, you could see in that conversation who Yasiel respected. Reyes, he didn't even look at Cespedes and their countrymen. I don't think he thought Cespedes had a leg to stand on as far as schooling on how to walk a home run off, because Cespedes has been in the box many a time and stared him down after they've been hit.
2 on with 2 out for Hyun-Jin Ryu in a 1-0 game in the second. Mets brings him in 0-1. Ball 1. And they are not friends, Yasiel Puig and Yoenis Cespedes. Both from Cuba. Similar stories defecting and making splashes quickly in the majors, but that's where the relationship just about ends. Ryu cracks a bouncing ball that Reyes has, throws to second in time to get Puig. Nice play by Jose Reyes to keep the Dodgers off of the board here in the second.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB TV for details.
Beautiful night for baseball here. It's been extra hot this week. Today, a little more comfortable. 73 degrees the game time temperature. Hyun-Jin Ryu out for his 3rd inning of work. He gave up the leadoff home run to Curtis Granderson, but no damage since. And he'll try and do the same thing Rich Hill did last night, and that is settle in after allowing that leadoff homer.
Rich Hill settled in, went 5 innings, gave up only 1 run, struck out 8, and looked like he is back on the beam, and we can look for better things in the future from Rich Hill. And that is good news for the Dodgers, and especially good news for the Hill household.
9-1-2 for New York in this inning. Steven Matz has always been a good hitter. And like we talk about almost nightly, of course, most of these guys, even the pitchers, once were good hitters. But Matz has kept that up even as a big leaguer. In fact, in his very first game in the majors in 2015 against Cincinnati, not only did he pitch 7 2/3 and win the game, but he went 3 for 4 at the plate and drove in 4 of the Mets' 7 runs. Ryu gets ahead of him 0-2.
Smelling the end of the bat when he just hit a changeup off the end to see if the wood smelled burnt. Just to see hitters do that, even if they foul the ball off right on the middle of their barrel, they'll smell their bat. Is it burning?
Just down, and it's 1-2.
Really? Down?
Let's
take a look. Strike? I didn't mean really down to you. I meant really down to Angel Hernandez. You're just calling what he's calling.
You're right. Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. Breaking ball gets him swinging for the first out.
That's where we have to live as pitchers in this day of everybody wants to hit fly balls and have them fly out of the stadium. They are trying to hit a pitch down there at the hollow of the knee.
Speaking of the ball flying out of here, it has on back-to-back nights for Curtis Granderson as we look at our Volkswagen replay. Look at the time of day. 7:11:09. That's the seconds. So 2 seconds apart on the 2 days. Our truck's amazing, huh? Production crew down there. Ball one on Granderson.
They're really good. They were off by 2 seconds.
They didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
So all the tape that they have down there, and it's still referred to as tape, even though it's technically not, it has the time code on it. That one curves in for a strike, and it's 1-1. So while they're cutting the replays, they looked and said, whoa, not only was it a leadoff home run both nights, it was almost the same exact time in the clock. 1-2. On the veteran Curtis Granderson, considered one of the good guys in baseball. 36 years old in his 14th year now. It's 2-2. He's born in Chicago. Both of his parents educators. His mom a high school chemistry teacher. His dad was an elementary school dean. His sister, college English professor now. So that was always important to him as well. He double majored at Illinois Chicago, business administration, business marketing. Not a whole lot longer on his big league career, you wouldn't figure, but Curtis will be successful no matter what comes after. Hooks a fly ball to right center field. That one's deep and off the wall. Curtis Granderson has followed his first inning homer with a third inning double.
The whole swing is not behind this, but enough of it is. Reaches out there with one hand and hits it on the barrel and finds the gap.
So he has 2 of the 3 hits. It brings up Wilmer Flores with a runner at second and 1 out. The Mets in front 1-0. Breaking ball, strike one. Ball one. Flores has been one of the best hitters in baseball against lefties over the last couple of years. That one buzzed him inside, and it's 2-1. Thing that Wilmer Flores is most known for, and this is always going to be what he's remembered for, really does something really big, but remember back at the deadline in 2015 when he thought he'd been traded and still had to go back out and play in the field and began crying while he was standing at short. That's low, and it's 3-1. So word had, you know, with the way things are now with social media, word had trickled through the dugout that he was getting traded to Milwaukee. They had a deal set up for Carlos Gomez, but then the trade fell through because Gomez failed the physical. 2 days after Flores was standing at shortstop crying, thinking that he'd been dealt to the Brewers, he hit a walk-off home run, the first one of his career. Full count. "25 years old. He's from Venezuela. Having his best offensive season here for the Mets. Granderson at second with one out and a 3-2. Flores bounces it gently to short. Chris Taylor will throw him out.
Number 52, Yankees, Cespedes.
So it'll be up to Cespedes, who the Dodgers have done a good job against in this series. You struck him out his first time. He's now 2 for 11 this week, and had been red hot coming in.
It's a situation with first base open that Ryu and Barnes can be very careful with him. You know, I really look at the count on the scoreboard in the back of your mind. Throw pitchers pitches no matter what the count is. So believe in your head it's 0-1 or 0-2. Work for the edges. Hopefully the hitter gets himself out on a good pitcher's pitch. Get a little anxious to drive that run in.
Only problem here with being too careful is that Jay Bruce, who is on deck, has owned Hyun-Jin Ryu with a pair of home runs and limited opportunities against him lifetime. Coming inside with a 1-0 and pulled foul, strike one.
Cespedes hitting 267 versus lefties. Bruce hitting 216, but sometimes that personal experience can change those numbers in a hurry. Some people see other guys better than others.
How did you weigh it? How did you weigh just your personal feel with the numbers?
I actually looked at if a guy was hot or not coming into the series first and foremost, because a hitter's statistics can be accumulated on the good side of if they happen to come in and are having a hot series against certain people, and could be you, or you could really get their number. So short-term results were more important to me than long-term results. But if over the long term you get the guy out on a certain pitch, I would wait for him to make the adjustment, and I would keep throwing it there.
Chris Taylor ranges over to get a Cespedes ground ball and finish off the inning. A one-out double from Granderson. With the sun setting, Ryu gets out of it. 1-0, middle three. counting for the score, and we get ready to start the bottom of the third and look at our Land Rover Performance Spotlight. It's not much of a sample, but it is reason to feel some optimism about Logan Forsythe. A hit in each of his last 4 games and hitting above 300 during that little stretch. Leading off for Dave Roberts again tonight. Walked his first time and takes ball 1 here. What have you seen from him over the last few days?
Better contact, you know, and he looked like he had lost the outside part of the strike zone. We had seen him hit so well in spring training and early in the season on balls away from him, especially with 2 strikes, being able to stay on those pitches. But saw him almost blinking through and not really understanding where the outside corner was, and it looked to lead to him being lost. I think he's getting a better view of the baseball and understanding where the strike zone is, and that's keeping him a little bit more in his hitting mechanics.
Waits on a 2-1. Takes strike 2.
I had heard and talked to some guys about he was making a little adjustments mechanically with his hand position and different things. Guys don't usually like to talk about specifics of what they're working on, because then it gets a little heady in interviews.
Matt strikes him out. That is the 4th. 1 out.
You know, you take an offer after telling somebody it's starting to feel good and I did this, and then everybody starts asking next day, so you took an offer, were your hands in the right position?
Oh, right.
You know?
Right.
It's like a lot of it's got to come real natural. You just got to go out there and compete.
And if you're getting asked about it, you can't help but think about it.
Right.
And yeah.
Hey, don't think about it, but the sky's blue.
Right. Chris Taylor, big hack and a miss, strike 1. You're darn right the sky's blue. Mats gets strike 2. Dodgers still looking for their first hit against the young left-hander, who wasn't much of a prospect until before his senior year of high school. Wasn't until then that he attended his first showcase with a lot of scouts at it. First time they'd actually ever put a speed gun on him. And so him and his dad couldn't believe it when they saw the numbers lighting up on there. They didn't know if he threw 75 or 85 or 90 like the gun said. He's a good athlete, fields this one easily, has Taylor for the 2nd out. And so as he keeps hitting 90, 91, 92, 90, slender left-hander who nobody had heard about starts developing a crowd of scouts following him around at this showcase. And he had gone to that primarily as a first baseman. That was his main position for his first few years in high school. Worked out there, then said, okay, I'll get on the mound, see what I can do there. Surprised even himself that day. And a year later, the Mets drafted him in the 2nd round. With 2 outs and the bases empty, Justin Turner takes ball 1. Didn't hurt that Mats hit a huge growth spurt partway through his time in high school. When he was a sophomore, he was 5'9", and then grew 5 inches in the blink of an eye, and the velocity followed that. Turner unloads. This game is tied at 1. First hit of the game for the Dodgers is a Justin Turner solo shot.
His hitting streak got broken. Then he gets a day off, but he doesn't take long to get back on track. I'll tell you what, since he came off the DL, the power has been there. Never lost the timing, but boy, there's more power.
So even again here in the 3rd, and it's another home run, getting the job done for the Dodgers. That is now 30 of them in their last 10+ games. Strike 1 on Cody Bellinger.
14 consecutive games that the Dodgers have at least had 1 home run. 13 was the 5th longest streak in Los Angeles Dodger history. To look up where we are now at 14.
It's 2-1. Justin Turner for the 2nd year in a row. Calendar turns to June and he starts heating up with the power numbers. 3rd home run in the last few days for him. Bellinger yanks one down the right field line. Bruce sprinting over, won't get there. And Bellinger with a 2-out double. Just muscled that baby into the corner. The Dodgers have the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Yeah, where he hit this ball on the bat, I'm surprised the bat didn't break, but he is strong enough to get it down there inside, and it jammed him. If it wouldn't have jammed him, he's either going to hit it so hard and it won't go foul because he hit it hard and it had been fair ball home run. Because he kind of got jammed, got his hands inside, it kept it fair for the double.
Kike Hernandez with a chance to give the Dodgers their first lead of the night. Breaking ball drilled to the opposite field. Back is Bruce. Another Dodger home run. This one from Hernandez, and they've taken a 3-1 lead.
This place was quiet, but now it is rocking. Justin Turner, Kike Hernandez with his 7th right here. Stays back on a breaking ball, stays behind it, and powders this ball to right field. Hit that ball so hard, he hit it like a left-handed pull hitter. That ties him for how many home runs he had last year, Joe. 7 last year and 7 already here in June.
So a 3-1 lead just like that. Here's Gutierrez. You know, you just sit there expecting this to happen now. That's such an unrealistic expectation, but it keeps on happening.
I don't know what you go down the scale of feelings.
Gutierrez in the air to right. Bruce into the corner, keeps carrying, and he makes the catch. 2 more Dodger home runs. Justin Turner with a solo shot to tie the game, and then Kike Hernandez a 2-run blast. After 3, it's 3-1. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the Ram 1500 Rebel. Experience the power and toughness of Ram at your local dealer. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the new sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich. Limited time only.
2 more Dodger home runs have produced a 3-1 lead. Joe Davis or Hershiser, Alana Rizzo back at Dodger Stadium. You said it during the break. Just another night at Dodger Stadium.
This team has really brought a lot of excitement to this beautiful stadium.
Jay Bruce swats the first one from Ryu foul.
And you were touching on it. It's like you don't really kind of hope somebody gets a hit. You're almost expecting somebody to get a big hit. The way this team has been going right now.
Don't undersell it. We're expecting them to hit home runs.
That's true too.
Bruce got it off the end of the bat. It'll be Turner in short center. It was a bit of a, not concern, but something as you try and poke holes in how good things seem to be right now. We were wondering kind of aloud to ourselves today, are they too reliant on home runs? And just took a quick gander at the standings across baseball and where they stack up on the reliance in home runs. They're right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, there's been a barrage of them lately, but you know there wasn't that many probably for the first month and a half of the season, but they are heating up with the weather.
Strike one on Darno. Other than 2. Jin Ryu seems to be settling in now, pitching with his 3-1 lead. Laid off, ball 1. If you're just joining us, Diamondbacks beat the Rockies 10-3 today after beating them 16-5 in game 2. Arizona was a blown 8th inning lead in game 1 away from sweeping that series. So the Dodgers with a full game advantage on the Rockies will come in tomorrow night. Question everybody brings up with the Rockies is how can that young pitching hold up for a full season? And each of the last 2 nights, a rookie allowing 9 runs. Jeff Hoffman yesterday, and then today Antonio Senzatella. 9 runs allowed. Full count on Darno.
And at home.
Right.
So where it can be double trouble as far as emotionally and mentally of watching balls in Colorado leave the park, go to the gap, drop in when they're bloopers.
Yeah, and Senzatella, there's starting to be some concerning numbers in that regard when you look at him. He was so good early on. He has not been good at Coors Field lately. Darno hits a high fly ball to left center field. Gutierrez and Hernandez back, and that is a home run. It just keeps on flying out of here. Darno's solo shot makes it 3-2.
These balls are flying out of here like golf balls. And this ball's got some backspin on it. I didn't think it was crushed. It looked like it was actually a little off the end of the bat. But it just continues to carry. We might have ourselves a slugfest here tonight, the way it's carrying.
Well, the Dodgers have stolen the show with their home runs in this series, but the Mets are number 2 in the National League in home runs on the year. Ryu misses with ball 1 to Duda, who has hit 12 homers of his own. One and one. So we're starting to talk about Senzatella running into issues at Coors Field. He was in the Rookie of the Year conversation, and not that he isn't anymore, but his last 3 starts at Coors Field, his ERA is close to 9. 2-1 on Duda.
When I saw him and he was doing well, and everybody said, "Oh, you're going to like the way this guy throws the ball," and you know, the Denver people were talking him up. And when he pitched against us, and he did well, but I didn't see electric stuff where I'm like, okay, this is really going to continue and he's going to dominate the way he has. For me, he pitches in a way that he needs to hit his spots, and if he lingers away from there, his spray pattern needs to be pretty tight to be successful.
Comes a 2-2. That's act foul. Probably the same thing could be said about Kyle Freeland, another one of the rookies. He's not an overpowering guy. When you're talking just pure stuff, John Gray has the best stuff in their staff, but he's been on the DL most of the year.
Yeah, he's got the biggest arm with the most movement, ability to spin the ball.
Ryu gets Duda swinging for the second out. It's time for the Unlimited Baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Taking a glance at those standings they're talking about. Rockies and the Diamondbacks playing those 3 games. Arizona taking 2, and so now even with the Rockies for second place. And the Dodgers with a full game advantage. It is the 5th day that they've been alone in first this season. Jose Reyes with the bases empty and 2 gone, looks at a ball. Isn't that crazy? This team has been so good. Yeah, this is only the 5th day they've been alone in first.
It's almost to the point, though, that you can just look at the National League West if you want to see the best records in baseball. Outside the Houston Astros, just look west.
Only one time in the divisional era, which began in 1969, have there been 3 teams with a winning percentage of .600 or better. Reyes to the hold at short. Chris Taylor stabs it. His high throw is pulled in by Bellinger. That's an even more difficult play than it looked like. Bellinger stepping into the base path, stretching out to catch it and end the inning.
Mini plan just got hotter with the announcement of Cody Bellinger's first ever bobblehead giveaway on Friday, September 8th. Commemorate Bellinger's historic home run pace by customizing your summer 6-pack around his bobblehead night. Visit Dodgers.com/mini plans. I promise I didn't have a stroke right there.
Well, good. Did your promo monitor go blank?
It went blank. I had it memorized this afternoon, but I needed a little support.
Sorry I wasn't there for you. 1 ball, 1 strike on Barnes. You handled it well.
Not much you can do. Just stop.
No. Live entertainment. 1-2. All 5 runs in this game coming off homers.
I tell you what, that Cody Bellinger play was not only fantastic, but it was very dangerous. And he had to come across the bag into foul territory to give time for the ball, the elevation of the ball to come down so he could reach it and keep his foot on the base. Take a look at the Carl's Cam replay and watch the footwork. The front foot that normally stretches out becomes the bag foot, and now watch Reyes come down and he just misses it. Reyes is not expecting him to come across like that. That foot of Reyes could have come right down on Cody's Achilles. That would have been very dangerous to lose that young man.
Barnes starting the 4th inning with a walk. It's the 3rd one issued by Matz, and the Dodgers have the leadoff man on.
Number 66, Yasiel Puig.
So up comes Puig, who has walked intentionally his first time up.
Is anybody in the back of their head hoping he hits a home run and watches it? I am.
I'm kind of half expecting it because that's where we are in life. Barnes runs on the first pitch. He got a great jump and no chance for d'Arnaud to get him.
You're right about the jump. He went on first move and he head first slides. Not only is his hand safe, his feet are safe.
That's the kind of play they'll take a look at in the Mets video room to make sure that he was on the base the whole time, and he was.
New techniques in sliding now. That replay of making sure you stay on the whole time. I think it's something baseball will have to look at.
Off the end of the bat, and Matz will throw Puig out. But I mean, what do you do?
Well, I think it's, for me, it's like when a guy overruns first base and the ball seems to get away from the first baseman. Does he make an attempt to go to second? Then he's live and you can tag him. Compared to when he makes it and he runs by the bag, the ball gets away and he doesn't even look at second base, doesn't make an attempt, just walks back to first. He's on first safely. You can't tag him. So you can let him slightly go by the bag as long as there's no attempt to get up and move on to third.
Okay.
That's where I would kind of look to massage the rule.
I like that. On Jin Ryu.
I think we're getting to a point where runners are again at risk of getting hurt, of foot. What do I do? Feet first slide, head first slide. How do I avoid the tag, and how do I now stay on the bag? And now you've got hands and ankles and everything at risk.
Barnes runs again. He sees something on the mound with Matz and takes advantage with his second stolen base.
A tremendous scouting by Austin Barnes and the 2 base coaches, Chris Woodward and George Lombard, and that lead is sufficient and the jump is good, and still because of the shorter throw it's bang bang, but he looks like he gets in there. Yes. And there's where I'm talking. I see those fingers kind of fold over as he's trying to hang on to the bag. You don't want to take away the excitement of the stolen base.
Infield comes in, a 2-0 count on Ryu. That one misses for ball 3.
Not a one-dimensional team, this Dodger team. It's not all about the power. It's not all about the bullpen and the Clayton Kershaw. There's so many different dimensions.
Austin Barnes came into this trip on the bases with 3 career stolen bases. He has 2 in the last couple minutes. A 3-1. That's a foul ball, and it's full. So now Matz will go gunning for a strikeout here with a runner at third and one out. The Dodgers in front 3-2. That's a big strikeout for Matz. Ryu watches it. 2 out, and it'll be up to Forsythe.
Second baseman Logan Forsythe.
First inning walk and a third inning strikeout for Logan. Ball one. That's missing his spot badly there. He's walked 3. He's allowed 3 hits. 2 of them have left the yard though. Justin Turner a solo homer. Kike Hernandez a 2-run homer. 2 balls, no strikes.
The Giant fiasco is really getting to the point where I almost feel sorry for them now.
What happened?
They're getting beat 12-6 by the rebuilding Atlanta Braves.
What inning?
6th, top of the 6th. Braves are at home. Giants are on the road, and they've lost 8 out of their last 10. That could be still 8 out of 10 if one was a win, but I think it's going to be 9 out of 10 here in a minute.
3-1. Giants are on pace to lose a franchise record 102 games. Forsythe can reach. Chris Taylor would come up. Dodgers trying to get some early insurance here with Barnes at third and 2 out. Matt's home with a 3-1. Forsythe takes strike 2. Chance for Matz to pitch around the leadoff walk here. That ball's hit well to left, right at Cespedes to end the inning. Can't barrel it up much better than Forsythe did, but Cespedes puts it away, and it's still 3-2. Brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Get the Toyota truck of your dreams at Toyota's Summer Drive Sales Event. On this date in 1987, terrific Tom Seaver announces retirement. Hall of Famer, longtime New York Met, pitched 20 seasons in the big leagues. From the Mets to the Reds to the White Sox to the Red Sox to finish up when he was 41 years old, despite giving it a go in that 1987 spring training with the Mets, team that had started his career with. Dodgers 3, Mets 2. Top of the 5th inning. Hyun-Jin Ryu back to the hill to face the bottom part of the order. Kevin Cecchini takes ball 1. Pair of solo home runs for the Mets, accounting for their scoring. Granderson started the game with 1. Darno hit 1 last inning. On 2-0. Big cut and a miss, 2-1. Three and 1. Eight, 9 and 1 for New York. Full count. Mets have dropped 7 of 9. A team that a lot of people pegged for 95 to 100 wins this year. It was supposed to be the Nationals and Terry Collins' bunch fighting for the National League East. It instead has been an injury-riddled disaster for New York this year, and they almost certainly will be sellers with the deadline coming. Cecchini with a base hit to left to open the 5th. There are a lot of pieces that a lot of teams will have interest in. Bruce is up after the season. Duda is up. Curtis Granderson, the way he's been swinging it lately. Neil Walker's on the DL, but he could be a valuable piece for somebody. And a couple of nice bullpen pieces as well that New York could deal. That's up there to sacrifice.
Don't trust him to just be bunting, though. He can pull it back. We've mentioned what a good athlete he is, and he can handle the bat.
Bunts it foul. Gets this one down. He throws a hustling Matz out, but he moves the tying run into scoring position for the top of the order. All new episode of Backstage Dodgers tonight. It follows Clayton Kershaw through his on-the-road pitching routine during the Dodgers' visit to Cleveland. And Franklin Gutierrez returning to the city where he made his big league debut. It's presented by Hankook Tires, and right after the postgame tonight. Ryu trying to solve Granderson, who's homered and doubled off of the wall. Starts him with a curve, and it's a strike. Mets in this series have gone 2 for 22 with runners in scoring position. Anderson has Cecchini at second. And on this 1-1, watches ball 2.
You want to see if he can hit the breaking stuff, because Granderson has found the fastball twice tonight. The double was low and away fastball, and the home run, which was near the middle. Even in a 2-1 count here, you might want to throw him something off speed.
Fastball off, 3-1.
The fastball signal might go down, but I'm not sure the commitment was there on that. Or he's really just pitching around him.
Well, the league is hitting above 400 against Hyun-Jin Ryu's fastball. That's the worst in baseball. He walks him. Barnes keeps it in the general vicinity. Cicchini holds it second, and they're at first and second with 1 out.
Strategic walk right there. I don't think that was a command issue.
Second walk that he's issued. Here comes Wilmer Flores. One for 11 in this series. Has the tying run at second and the go-ahead run at first. A check swing, tapper foul. Dodgers have a chance with a win here to sweep their 7th series of the year, which would already match last season's total. It'd be the first 4-game sweep against the Mets since 1979. They took 4 at Dodger Stadium against a team that would finish with the worst record in the league that year. 79 Mets went 63-99. Flores in an 0-2 hole. 1979 Dodgers that did the sweeping. They finished 4 games below 500. They're 11.5 back in the division. Reds won it. Barnes will go out to get on the same page. And the bullpen gets going. Hyun-Jin Ryu's at 85 pitches with 1 away here in the 5th. Two on with 1 out. 0-2. Flores bounces one to short. Taylor goes to second wall. Forsythe guns to first, a double play. 6-4-3 to get out of the mini jam. We're halfway home in a 3-2 game. Dodgers in front, 3-2 to the bottom of the 5th we go. Joe, Oral, and Alana on a gorgeous night at Dodger Stadium. 2, 3, and 4 coming up here against Steven Matz. It's Chris Taylor to lead off the inning. Started him with a fastball, strike one. Conversation going on there between Rick Honeycutt, Hyun-Jin Ryu. There has been action down in that Dodger bullpen over the last few minutes. Other than 2. Right now it's Chris Hatcher. Whew, that one took off. Ball 1. Barely got a piece to stay alive. Chris Taylor, first start of the season at short. That's his natural position.
But it still had to be a little unnerving. First time to be out there.
Swing in here for the first out of the 5th.
Sorry, Joe.
You're all right. Time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Justin Turner coming up already with a home run under his belt. 3 consecutive days the Dodgers have had somebody hit multiple home runs. It's the 2nd time in franchise history that's happened. 2nd consecutive season it's happened. Seager, Thompson, Peterson in a 3-day stretch all had multi-home run games. The Dodgers with a couple of candidates midway through this one, and Turner and Hernandez. Ball 1.
You can see Justin is wearing all the pressure on his face right there as he smiles as he gets into the box.
Yeah, right.
Going to need some new lumber. That home run bat right there is firewood now. In the 3rd, he made a very pretty swing right there, and he stared it down, but he was still trotting.
Wonder if that was Cody Bellinger's bat he just broke.
Oh, yeah, but there's probably a bat order out there of Justin Turner's name being imprinted on Cody Bellinger's model and length and weight. There was a little smile there like he just broke the bat.
Uh-huh. 1 and 2. He shared that with Kelly Tennant the other night. That's his secret right now to the increase in power. He borrowed one of Chase Utley's bats last year. Right around the same time he took off with the power numbers. This time of year in that case as well. Waits on a 1-2 for Matz. That's up, and the count evens. It's after the home run, a close shot of the bat. Confirmation that he's still using Bellinger's model. And why not? Down swinging here on a high fastball.
First baseman, Cody Bellinger.
Back-to-back Ks for Matz to open the 5th, and Bellinger comes up 1 for 2 with a double. One and 0. Two balls, no strikes. And they will let Matz try to pitch his way back into the count against Bellinger. 2-1. Hyun-Jin Ryu's night perhaps finished after his 5 innings. Chris Hatcher continues to get ready. On 2-1. Bellinger's behind it, 2-2. A full count. It's the fastest that Matz has worked at any point tonight. Here's his payoff. He's walked Bellinger. Second time Bellinger's reached tonight. The innings kept alive for Kike Hernandez.
Belly's reputation is growing. Guys are trying to make pitches on him, and they're not going to give in.
Usually the league adjusts and gets the upper hand on a guy like Cody Bellinger before it adjusts to crown and Barry Bonds by not giving him anything good to hit. So Hernandez, who went deep his last time, stands in with a man at first and 2 out.
A little closer attention being paid by Mr. Steven Matz. The Dodger runners now, after Austin Barnes put on a show, stealing second and third.
Ball 1. That's from a family full of New York Mets fans. His grandparents on his mom's side actually former Brooklyn Dodger fans. Bellinger runs here. Throw down from d'Arnaud is nowhere close to in time, and Bellinger's stolen a bag.
Cody went mid-delivery, making sure that Matz was going home, and still had enough jump and wheels to get there.
So it's turned into a nice RBI chance with 2 gone here for Hernandez. Hard hit foul. Look at the Carl scam replay back on Kike Hernandez 2-run home run.
A breaking ball that he supplied all the power. Doesn't go to the pull side. It's a slow curve ball, and he hits it to right field with just enough.
It was his 7th of the year. Second one tonight, 14th in this series for the Dodgers. Bellinger at second with 2 gone, and a 2-1 is in there for strike 2. The 14 home runs, by the way, that the Mets have allowed in this series is a franchise record for the most allowed in a series. Matches the number they gave up in a series at Tiger Stadium in 1997. Long Island Steven Matz. This night nearing an end here at 95 pitches with Bellinger at second and 2 out. His 2-2. It's a high fastball, full count. Gutierrez would bat if Hernandez could reach. Here comes the payoff. Kike rips one, left field line foul.
That's really good hitting because he hits the slow breaking ball to right field and is able to stay back. And there they try to beat him inside, and he's still got the bat speed and the hands to get around on it. And you see these bats, and they're 32 to 34 inches long, but the sweet spot of where the hitters are trying to get it to be hit is about 4 inches.
Matz pulled the string for his 8th strikeout to strand a runner at second. Through with 5 in a 3-2 game. Calendar brought to you by 76. 3 more this weekend coming up. Rockies in town, and then a 4-game series with the Angels. 2 here and 2 down in Anaheim. Dodgers trying to keep on rolling on this homestand. A chance tonight to win 7 in a row for the first time this year. It would be their 13th win out of their last 14. Ryu's night is over. Who's in, who's out? Brought to you by In and Out. Here comes Chris Hatcher. In a 1-run game in the 6th, a much higher leverage situation than he's gotten used to appearing.
Good feeling out there. His last outing was against these Mets on Monday. 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, and no runs. So don't look at the overall stats, but Dave Roberts in this inning playing a hot hand.
And he brings him on for the heart of the order. Yoenis Cespedes leads it off and takes ball 1. Cespedes 0 for 2 today and 2 for 12 in this series. The 31-year-old likely headed to the All-Star game for a 3rd consecutive or a 3rd season. It's it foul and it's 1-1. Grew up working on his family's farm in rural Cuba. Not so much a part of him that he decided to spend a lot of his early major league money on getting his own ranch. Spends his off seasons there in South Florida. Hits a high drive down the left field line. It's hooking. Foul. 1-2. Left over the plate, pounded to center, but it's right at Hernandez for the first out of the inning. Ooh, hold your breath on both those swings.
Chris has got to start hitting his target a little better. Target's in one place, the ball's ending up another. Good warm-up batter, but now time to get locked in.
And you don't have much time to do it. The hot Jay Bruce comes up. 0 for 2 today, but hitting around 400 over the last couple weeks. 6 home runs during that stretch. That one's placed better. Ball 1. Even Jay Bruce, part of the fly ball revolution, as they're calling it. He said this is the first year in his 10 years in the majors where he's made a concerted effort to elevate. And this coming from a guy who's hit as many home runs as a left-handed hitter as anybody since he debuted.
It's really an interesting change in the game. Changing of pitch selection and changing of what the hitter is trying to do and what they're looking for.
On 2-0. That's in. Ball 3.
And it might be why we're seeing so many people chase high fastballs, because they're concentrating when they're looking out at a pitcher to say, make him get the ball up, make him get the ball up. It's easier to elevate the ball and hit it in the air. When I get the high pitch, well, they'll start chasing the high ones more.
4-pitch walk, and the Mets have the tying run on base against Hatcher here. You know, we're on pace to set a single season home run record in baseball by more than 300 homers.
That's a big, big difference. That's not just a small trend. That's a change in philosophy. Maybe the ball's flying a little farther.
Of course, there are juiced ball theories out there.
Seems like the ones in the home run derby at the All-Star game fly a little further.
That's a strike on d'Arnaud. Biggest 3-year jump in home run rate ever from 2014 to this year. That's bigger than even when they're going from the dead ball era to the Babe Ruth era. Even a bigger jump than when they went to the shortage during World War II to all those players coming back. Biggest 3-year jump in home runs ever.
The jump in home runs, has there been a jump in strikeouts? Because you think if they're swinging for the fences more, that they'd be swinging and missing more.
One ball and one strike. Talked about how reliant the Dodgers are on home runs this year. While it doesn't stack up very high as far as the majors this year, it is the 4th most reliant team on home runs in franchise history.
This is always known as a pitcher's park. When the sun goes down here in Los Angeles, the temperature drops usually about 10 to 15 degrees.
That's a skyscraping pop-up in center field. Kike Hernandez has it spotted for the second out. I mean, that just goes to show you. So this Dodger team is getting more runs from homers than all but 3 teams in franchise history. But in this era of the game, it's right around the middle of the pack across baseball.
Tells you what the other teams are doing, yeah, and their philosophies and where they're trying to hit the ball. And this is a very powerful Dodger team, and it might climb up the standings as far as in the league as they go, because they didn't hit they didn't hit at the rate that they're hitting them now.
And you said it. I mean, this park known as a pitcher's park. Dodgers right now have the highest runs per game average in Dodger Stadium history. A pretty decent little margin.
And the home run rate is at a historic rate too. I think it's 1.61, and the all-time record for here is per game is 1.33 home runs per game by the Dodgers. So if they keep this pace up, they're going to fly by everybody as far as a Dodger team.
Strike one on Lucas Duda. Second-year hitting coach Turner Award. Hatcher's got to be careful with Duda, representing the go-ahead run in the 6th. Cuts it inside, and it's 1-1. Ripped to right center field. That's in the gap, and it bounces all the way to the wall. Hernandez barehands the carom. Here's the throw to the plate. It is not in time, and this game is tied at 3. Lucas Duda with a 2-out double to score Jay Bruce from first.
Well, Duda with a nice piece of hitting, and the Dodgers are so close to executing a fantastic relay play. Little change up away that Duda hits, and right there, that little bobble right there, and then Forsythe's throw being on the first base side instead of the third base side. Either one of those things don't happen, he's going to be out.
Instead, again tied. And the go-ahead run in scoring position now for Jose Reyes. Ball one. Reyes flips a fly ball to left center field. Hernandez tracks it down, and the inning is over. But the Mets tie it up on a 2-out double. Brought to you by Morongo Casino. Don't forget about this play in this tight game. Kike Hernandez with an outfield assist in the second inning to cut down Duda. Dodgers riding the long ball again. A solo shot from Turner and a 2-run shot from Hernandez. But Lucas Duda with a 2-out RBI double to bring home Jay Bruce from first against Chris Hatcher. Back at square one to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 3.
And tied at 3, and it's a bullpen game as far as the Dodgers are concerned. And it seems like with most of the rotation, it's the starter and the bullpen, and they're splitting the game. Clayton Kershaw really the one that takes the Dodgers 7 innings or more. He's done that 11 out of 15 starts.
Franklin Gutierrez takes a strike. Kenta Maeda starts to loosen.
You look at the other starters that try and go deep into the game. Only a few of them have gone more than 1. McCarthy's gone 2. Wood's gone 2. Maeda's gone 2. Rich Hill, none. And Ryu, only 1. So those guys are looking not only to pitch well, which they have at times, but to get deeper into games. So the bullpen isn't relied on as much.
See if Gutierrez gets one to drive. He swings away. Sends a high fly ball into the seats. Little surprise, Steven Matz is sent back out there. Quickly working that New York bullpen. He's sitting at 98 pitches. It's only his 3rd start of the season. Had Tommy John surgery right after he was drafted a few years back. Had arm issues last year and hasn't pitched more than 105 in either of his first 2 outings. But he goes back out there to start the 6th, having thrown 98. On to 1. Gutierrez bangs one that comes up on Flores. He has time to recover and throw him out. I guess Terry Collins, or the way the starters have struggled to get deep into games, is going to squeeze every last ounce out of Matz tonight.
Yeah, he doesn't know what's coming out of his bullpen, and he is so glad when he has a starter that looks like he can go out there and compete.
Barnes has walked both times tonight. Those are 2 of the 4 walks that Matz has issued. After him, it'll be Puig. Breaking ball misses. It's 1-0. Bounce to 3rd. This one eats Flores up. And the Dodgers have the go-ahead run on with 1 out here in the 6th. Not an easy play. And Barnes runs well, so no chance for Reyes to help Flores out.
Austin Barnes, even on this ground ball, I'll tell you, his power is really starting to increase. He's got the Chris Taylor leg kick now, getting some momentum with his swing.
And they will let Matz face Puig.
And face Barnes at first base,
who stole 2 bags off him the last time he was on and was stranded at 3rd. Puig fouls off the first pitch, strike 1. First time, by the way, the Dodgers have had a catcher steal 2 bases in 1 game since Russell Martin did it in 2010.
Has there been one that's stolen 3?
Never in Dodger history. 0-1 to Puig. That misses, ball 1. Well, very clearly Austin Barnes saw something in the scouting report on the delivery of Steven Matz that he thought he could take advantage of. Very clearly, because coming into this game, Barnes had 3 steals total in his career. Matt says, get back there.
This is an opportunity for Yasiel Puig, because if his concentration is divided.
Rolled to short. Reyes to second, 1. 6-4-3, a double play finishes the inning. And Matt's able to dig deep and give Terry Collins 6 tonight.
Stadium Sunday, June 25th against the Colorado Rockies at 1:10. The first 12,000 kids 14 and under in attendance will receive a thirst-quenching Dodger water bottle presented by Spectrum. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
3-game series for the Rockies starting tomorrow night. 7:10 first pitch in that series opener. Alex Wood for the Dodgers. Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. Chris Hatcher's back out there for the 7th. And Cicchini takes strike one. On Saturday it'll be Clayton Kershaw against Tyler Chatwood. And Brandon McCarthy against German Marquez on Sunday. Fly ball to right. Easily playable for Puig. And Cicchini the first out.
Puig out there like Rico Suave.
Per usual. So this officially ends Steven Matz's night as Brandon Nimmo pinch hits.
Steven Matz did a very nice job for the Mets. This Dodger club is swinging very hot bats, and 6 innings, 3 runs is pretty solid.
Soon as Nimmo's introduced, Dave Roberts steps out of the dugout and is going to make a double switch, it appears, going to Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire. That's going to do it for Chris Hatcher. Still trying to figure out exactly what that switch is. Juan Castro down there helping out. Jock Peterson will come in defensively. Franklin Gutierrez, the man that will come out. And into that Dodger bullpen they go here in the 7th inning. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Carl's Jr., the baby back rib burger, only at Carl's Jr. Grant Dayton is Dave Roberts' selection to face Brandon Nimmo.
Pitch yesterday, an inning, couple strikeouts against the Mets, and riding another hot hand here. Grant has been throwing the ball well since being recalled from Okie City. You see almost a strikeout an inning, and the walk total a little high compared to last year, but that'll start coming down. His mechanics are much better now.
Nimmo spent most of this season in the minors. Here he is as a pinch hitter. And a tie game in the 7th. And Grant Dayton starts him with a nice breaking pitch for strike one. It's 1-1. 5 of the 6 runs in this game coming off homers. Turner and Hernandez for the Dodgers. Bruce and Darno, or Granderson and Darno for the Mets. Two and one. After Nimmo, it will be Granderson. Brandon Nimmo, former first-round pick, takes a strike, and it's 2-2. Full count. That's hit foul. Nimmo out of the baseball hotbed, Wyoming.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Got notice for all the professional scouts by playing on the travel ball tour, a lot of different showcases. Waits on another payoff and hits it foul again.
Travel ball and showcases. They are big money makers for the people that are running them. I promise you, people, if you have a really good child that is really good in baseball, the scouts will find them without having to do travel ball or showcases.
Just outside, and Dayton walks him.
Real close.
Granderson.
I'd say it was a strike. At least the computer says it was.
So the Mets have the go-ahead run on base and have Curtis Granderson, their best hitter in this series, at the plate. Problem for Nimmo, reason that he had to play the travel ball in other showcases, they didn't have high school baseball in Wyoming. There are a few states that don't. That's one of them. Dayton downhill, and Granderson takes strike one.
Well, we must be coming close to the heart of the order, because in the bullpen, Pedro Baez is warming up, and he has been the favorite son of Dave Roberts to come in when the game is on the line and the big bats are coming up.
High leverage man, Pedro Baez. Curtis Granderson, who has turned his season around in a big way over the last month or so. Lays off here. Barnes keeps it in the vicinity, and it's 1-1.
Austin Barnes can be so calm and such a good receiver of the baseball back by or behind home plate as the ball comes in, but then as soon as it's in the dirt, he is so quick. You're almost surprised at how quick he gets to the ball when it deflects away a little bit.
Nimmo, a good lead at first. That's up high, and it's 2-1. Dodger bullpen has been the best in the National League this year. Dave Roberts trying to ride it in this one after only 5 innings from Ryu. A 2-1. Hit foul, and it's 2-2. Chance for the Dodgers to sweep the 7th series this year and to take a 4-game sweep from the Mets for the first time since 1979. Seems like there's some kind of historical nugget on the line for this Dodger team night in and night out right now. That guy's a big part of it, Cody Bellinger. It's weird. It's been like 48 hours since he's homered, and it feels like a long gap.
Some other guys have filled in that gap. Kike and Turner tonight.
On 2-2. Full count. Strike 3 called. Curtis Granderson just got Angel Hernandez.
Third baseman number 4, Wilmer Flores.
Wow. Man on first shouldn't be there because it should have been a strike. And Angel might have missed that one.
I can confirm he did miss.
And he missed that one for sure.
Grandin will take it. Dave Roberts will take it. And bring on Pedro Baez in a tie game in the 7th. Bellinger tomorrow sits down with Jerry Hairston to talk about his journey to the majors, his already historic rookie run this season. Connected with Cody Bellinger right after the post-game show tomorrow on Sportsnet LA. And a 3-3 game in the 7th with a man at first and 2 outs. Here's Pedro Baez.
Well, Pedro's the hardest thrower coming out of the Dodger bullpen. But it's not all about the fastball anymore. The 2 off-speed pitches are outstanding now, and his poise and confidence has grown leaps and bounds.
Faces Wilmer Flores. He's been so good against left-handed pitching this year, so Dave Roberts takes the lefty Dayton out, brings Baez on, and he starts him with a slider that misses. First outing for Baez since Sunday in Cincinnati when he allowed runs for the first time in a month. Nimmo at first with 2 out. And the 1-0. Caught the bottom of the zone for strike 1.
Home plate seems to be on roller skates tonight.
Yeah, in a limbo competition. How low can you go? One and 2 on a fastball at 97.
Roller skates kind of shows my age, huh?
Yeah, I've never roller skated.
Roller blades.
Yeah, done that.
What are the tennis shoes with wheels in the bottom?
Don't know.
I don't either.
It's
Heelys.
inside 2 and 2.
Heelys.
Okay.
Kids that wear those Heelys should have to have like turn signals on their bodies.
And the licenses.
Yeah, they come running through the malls, whizzing by you.
Barnes implores for Baez to throw it down, and then a toss over. That's led this game after an inning and a solo homer from Curtis Granderson. The Dodgers getting 3 in the 3rd to take the lead. That's with a run in the 4th and a run in the 6th to tie it. Baez pumps it 2-2. And with the runner moving, it's fouled back. Wilmer Flores just 1 for 12 in this series. Came into this series as one of the best hitters statistically against the Dodgers in baseball. Nimmo off of first with 2 outs and another 2-2 from Baez. Slider misses, full count, and the go-ahead run will get a head start.
Jock Peterson backs up about 5-6 steps in center field. All of a sudden doesn't want the ball to get in the gap. Playing behind Nimmo at first now. Cody Bellinger backing up and gaining some range.
Baez on for Flores and home with a 3-2. Hit foul, will do it again. Touching 99 that time with a heater. Five innings from Ryu tonight. Chris Hatcher with 1+, then Dayton. And now Baez, the 3rd reliever for Dave Roberts. Goes Nimmo again, and another 3-2 is golf foul. Try to keep the inning alive for Yoenis Cespedes.
If he does happen to hit a gapper, Nimmo's going to be tired. He might have a piano jump on his back coming around 3rd trying to score. He's having to restart his engine for the 3rd time.
Really good arms in the corners for the Dodgers. Puig and Hernandez. Another payoff. Another foul. It's 4 in a row fouled off by Wilmer Flores. And 4 in a row where Nimmo has to sprint and then jog back and get ready to do it again. Baez ready for the 10th pitch to Wilmer Flores. Fouled off of the glove. Quite a battle going on in a tie game here in the 7th.
Nimmo's been running about 2/3 of the way 5 times, so he's ran about 300 feet. He's got to have lost a step at least.
Got a pretty good sweat going. Just got in.
Put out a new cardio workout tape.
The 11th pitch from Baez. Went to the slider and it was fouled again. 6 consecutive pitches hacked foul.
Terry Collins might go to a pinch runner.
Yeah. Baez just can't seem to find a way to put Flores away. Pitch number 12 coming. There goes Nimmo again. Bounce to second. All that work for nothing for Nimmo. Flores throws, Forsythe throws Flores out, and we stretch in a tie game. Bottom of the 7th inning, Joe and Oral, and the last few nights have been fun in these blowout wins. This is a different kind of fun here.
Yeah, a little more pressure. It's going to go down to the, nail-biting time, but Dodgers have the best bullpen in the National League, a 3.03 ERA coming into this game. They've still got one-swing bats on that bench all the way through, with a lot of left-handed hitters taking a day off, and Jock Peterson coming up. So he is off the bench for sure for defense, and now for his first at-bat.
One of those guys you're talking about. So many bullets for Dave Roberts to go to when there are left-handed starters on the mound. Paul Sewald, a right-handed reliever, comes in, replacing Matz after 6 innings in a 3-3 game. Jock Peterson swings away. High drive right center on the first pitch of the 7th. He's broken the tie.
For Franklin Gutierrez, improved the defense, a place in the batting order to move the pitcher down. Jock Peterson leads off the inning, and in one swing, one pitch, puts the Dodgers up.
A no-doubter.
It's a blast.
Logan Forsythe now looking to strike one. A lot like Justin Turner. Jock Peterson starting to show some of that power recently. 3rd home run in the last 7 games for him. Forsythe bangs a base hit into center. This is now the most home runs allowed by the Mets in a series in franchise history.
So,
15 of them.
So hard to beat Terry Collins right now, Joe. He doesn't know which button to push.
Runner at first and nobody out. Here's Taylor. Terry Collins, of course, began his managing career in the Dodger minor league system. Managed you.
He's a great baseball man, and he's done a fine job with the Mets, but they're going to go through a very rough year this year.
His contract is up after this season. Of course, been plenty written about what his future might hold. A lot of people think this will be it for him. You wouldn't blame him if he was okay with that, with where this organization seems to be right now. That's a strike on Taylor. Doc Peterson, a home run on the first pitch of this 7th inning against Seawald to put the Dodgers in front. Not sure if you've ever heard this story, but Terry Collins told me that in 1984, so that was your first full season in the majors, you started as a reliever.
Yep.
He was beating the drum to try and get you to be a starter full time. And again, you were in the majors at this point. He was managing in AAA Albuquerque. They had decided that you were going to get sent back down to transition to be able to start full time. But something happened where somebody got hurt and you got pressed into duty.
Jerry Royce and Bert Hooton both got hurt running in the Dodger Stadium parking lot. I think they were running, and there used to be chains between the parking lot, and one jumped over a chain and the other one behind, and they both tripped and got hurt.
And so you had to go.
Something like that had happened, yeah, and I ended up getting a start in New York.
And so they had already decided who was going to be the piece to come up for you. This is the part I don't know if you had heard.
Rich Rodas.
So you knew.
I'd heard the story.
Okay. Taylor takes low, and it's 2-2. Management calls down to Terry Collins in Albuquerque and says, hey, you haven't told the guy that he's going up yet, right? And Terry said, no, what's going on? And whoever called Terry said, well, we had to start Hershiser, and he's through 7 shutout innings. He ain't going to Albuquerque. Full count.
Yeah, I got a no decision my first start in New York. Tom Niedenfuhr actually came in for me with a man on first, picked off my runner, and then gave up like a home run. It would have been my loss.
Oh.
But he picked off my runner, and then he ended up getting the loss. He kids me about that even today.
To walk for Taylor. They're at first and second with nobody out.
And I deserved to go back to AAA at that time and not get that start in the rotation, but because of that injury, it kept me in the big leagues, and they had to give somebody the ball.
Here's Turner. An injury tripping over
The
chains in the parking lot?
Yeah, there were chains between the cement barriers, and I think as one went to jump over, as they're doing their long distance running out in the parking lot, that one tripped on the chain, raised the chain for the next one, and he tripped also.
It's like a cartoon. Turner and the Dodgers a chance to bust this thing open. Strike one on a change.
Tommy Lasorda didn't tell me I was starting until I arrived at the ballpark that day, because he was afraid that I couldn't sleep. and there was a baseball sitting on my stool in front of my locker in the visiting locker room of Shea Stadium. And I looked at it like, who wants my autograph? I'm a nobody with like a 6 ERA about to go back to AAA. I'm not pitching well at all. And I picked up the ball as I got to my locker, and Tommy was standing in the doorway and said, "The ball's yours today, kid. You're starting." And that's when I found out, about 3 hours before the game started.
Here's the 1-1. Pulled foul. And sometimes guys perform better like that, right? When you don't have the time to think about it.
I'm really glad he did it. I don't think I would have slept a wink. I mean, I have tough enough time in mid-career falling asleep the night before I pitch. I had to always be the one to try and gear down and not think about it, because if you get wired too soon, A, you can't sleep, and B, you don't have any energy by the time game time comes around. Not that I grind on anything or anything.
No. 2-2. You've never been one to sweat the small stuff.
Just all of it. There'll be no small hit right here for Justin Turner to give Pedro Baez and possibly Kenley Jansen a little more breathing room.
Turner lifts one down the left field line. Cespedes has room, and Turner's the first out.
I'm starting to get like the crowd. Any ball that's hitting the air, the outfield, I'm feeling like it's going to be a home run the way these guys are swinging the bat.
Don't blame you. Here comes Terry Collins. That's going to do it for Paul Sewald. The Dodgers in this series, 34 runs, 15 home runs. Is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Energy Upgrade California. Jerry Blevin's been a reliable piece of this Mets bullpen, and he's on with men at first and second. And one out in the seventh.
A little rusty. He's had 4 days rest, and back 4 days ago he only threw 5 pitches, so the Mets haven't had any opportunities where they wanted to use their quality pieces. But here, even down a run, Terry Collins looking to keep this game close.
Calling on a left-hander to face Bellinger, who's 1 for 2, a double and a walk today. Long drought for him, 2 days without a home run.
Be patient.
Forsythe singled after Peterson's home run. Taylor walked. And so first and second with one out.
Your home run comment about Cody being a while, 48 hours since he hit one. A good sign is the last two at bats have been walks. And first thing about hitting is to be a good hitter, you got to get a good pitch to hit. So showing patience even though he's in a hot streak. Oh, he doubled in the third. I'm sorry, my 2 looks like a BB.
Waits on a breaking pitch and flips it to right. Jay Bruce under it for the second out. Kike Hernandez comes up. We look at the Arco top tier play of the game brought to you by Arco. A couple of them for him. This outfield assist right now looks like a huge play with this being a one-run game. That was in the second to cut down Lucas Duda. And he's delivered a 2-run homer.
Backspin in the ball to right field as a right-handed hitter. Outstanding piece of hitting.
One of the 3 home runs tonight for the Dodgers. Corey Seager has stepped into the on-deck circle. And would bat if Hernandez could keep this inning going. Levin's downhill with the first one. That's ball 1. Rockies lost earlier today. The lead is a full game for the Dodgers. Two 2-0. Sergio Romo has started to loosen. Sweeping breaking pitch through the back door for a strike. Been a little bit unorthodox tonight, the way Dave Roberts has massaged things in the bullpen after Hyun-Jin Ryu. Higher leverage opportunity for Chris Hatcher. And Sergio Romo warming for what would be a high leverage situation if he was called upon. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's a chance too that Romo's getting ready. If Kike is able to break it open here, he could then sit Baez down.
There's a slim chance that if Kike just walks that Seager doesn't hit, and he really wants Grant Dayton to still be pitching, but he's just trying to get Kike better pitches. You call a balk?
Time.
Oh, good.
Two on, 2 out. Jock Peterson's home run on the first pitch of the inning. The difference right now. A 2-2. Breaking ball wrapped around the plate. It's a full count. And the runners will get a head start. An opportunity at insurance here. There they go. Here it comes. Check swing. Bases loaded. And you were right. They will pull Seager back, and Pedro Baez will bat for himself.
Take a look here. It was close, but it looks like he pretty much held up. Powerful arm in Pedro Baez. We'll see if he has a powerful bat.
He's, of course, a converted third baseman. Although the reason that he converted was that he didn't hit particularly well at third. Boy, this season, though, it wouldn't shock you if he got a hit here, would it? Oh for 2 in his major league career at the plate. He looks hitterish.
And he should be taking right here. Now with the 1-0 count.
Loaded up in the 7th with 2 gone. Here's a 1-0 to Baez. Takes again, ball 2.
Should be taking 2 now.
Dodgers trying to win 7 in a row for the first time this year.
There should be at least 3 more pitches in this inning.
So you're saying don't swing?
Nope.
For a while. 3-0 on Pedro Baez, who's a ball away from the first RBI of his major league career.
Right about now, I'm telling him to take 3. You got to throw 3 strikes in a row.
Nowhere to put him. Pedro's knocked in a run. Logan Forsythe is in, and the Dodgers lead at 5-3.
Everything is going right for the Dodgers. He's like, you see that? I got a good eye.
How's it feel out there, Pedro?
I'll tell you what, though, if Austin Barnes gets a single, Pedro Baez just jog to second. If he hits the ball in the gap, just jog over to third. Don't do anything special on the bases.
So it's Barnes with the bases loaded in a 5-3 game in the 7th. He has reached all 3 times tonight and takes a strike.
Juan Castro looking like he's trying to give Pedro some signs.
He's given him the same signs you just talked about.
Suave.
Those two are very close, Juan Castro and Pedro Baez. Juan Castro, one of the great human beings. Outside, ball 1. Barnes had an RBI last night with a pinch hit single late in the 8-2 win. Trying to give the Dodgers some breathing room here in the 7th as they look for a 4-game sweep. Blevins pitches 1-1. Big cut, 1-2. Now 1-2. Way up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This game is tied at 3. The start of this inning, the first pitch that Paul Sewald threw, Jock Peterson hammered for a solo homer. Loaded up in the 7th, and a 2-2. Barnes takes the same pitch that he swung over for strike 2. Bases loaded, 3-2 with 2 gone. Everybody will be moving. That includes, wait for it, him, Pedro Baez. There they go. Here it comes. Ball 4, and it's 6-3 as Blevins walks in another.
Terry Collins going to make another move.
One of these times I'm half expecting Terry to just keep walking past the mound and out the gate.
That's terrible.
You wouldn't blame him, though.
The way this team is performing.
He'll call on Fernando Salas for the 3rd time in the 4 games in this series. The Dodgers have 3 in the bank, and the bases loaded with Puig coming up. Of this inning, and on to face Puig, on for the 3rd time in this series.
A very tough time for the New York Mets and a very exciting time for the Los Angeles Dodgers to be on a high with the Rockies coming in here. The Rockies hitting a little bit of a skid because of the Arizona Diamondbacks beating up on them. This would really charge the crowd up if Yasiel did something positive.
Dodgers another big offensive night. Already 6 runs, bases loaded, 2 out in the 7th. And strike 1. Eric Stephen from True Blue LA tweeted last night that this is the first time since 1945 the Dodgers have had 8 or more runs in 5 consecutive games. I wonder when the last time they had 8 or more in 6 straight games was. The 0-1. Ball 1. You know, it's interesting as Pedro Baez hit for himself because Dave Roberts wanted that badly to have him still available to pitch the next inning. Another hit, and he may not even pitch. Romo has started to warm again. Puig takes it, and it's 2-1.
Romo doesn't have to throw a lot because he'll know if he's going to be in if there's a hit, and that will give him time to throw, but he's up and ready and has tossed a little bit.
A 2-1 to Puig. Had one to hit and fouled it off. 2-2.
Did a very nice job building to a hitter's count. Got a mistake, or at least a challenge pitch.
Ninth man to bat in this inning for the Dodgers. Home run from Peterson and a pair of bases loaded walks. Puig hits a bouncing ball to third. It's smothered by Flores, and he steps on the bag to finish the inning. But the Dodgers break the tie. On the first pitch of the inning, Jock Peterson takes Paul Sewald deep. 2 more runs would follow. On to the 8th. 6-3. The Rockies opening the 3-game series, and it's Friday Night Fireworks presented by Denny's. The Pyro Mix will be celebrating Space Jams. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Alex Wood for the Dodgers in that one against Kyle Freeland of the Rockies. Corey Seager comes in defensively here to play short with the Dodgers in front 6-3 in the 8th.
And with the bullpens having as many members as they do nowadays, there's no rest for the weary. When the everyday players get a day off, they usually end up having to be in the game. And Corey Seager there at short, not getting off his feet completely. You get a half a day off or so.
Pedro Baez, who hit for himself last inning, so he could be available for the middle of the order here in the 8th. Ready to face Yoenis Cespedes. Ball 1. Couldn't have worked out any better, though, for Dave Roberts. Sent him up there not expecting anything. Just don't get hurt, more or less. And he winds up walking with the bases loaded to get his first career RBI. 1-1.
I used to learn from hitting how tough it was by going up into the batter's box, and it really gave me more confidence as a pitcher to throw strikes and attack hitters after you visually get up there and face a big league pitcher as a hitter, and you go, wow, you know, why am I lacking a little confidence in this pitch, or why am I really backing down in certain situations? This is really hard to do.
You know who talked about that same thing was last night's starter Tyler Pill. He was a hitter at Cal State Fullerton and said that he's learned not to give hitters too much credit because that same exact thing. He knows how difficult it is.
You go up there and you try and hit, you know, a 92-mile-an-hour fastball with pretty decent movement on it, and if you know you have better movement or maybe you have better velocity, you start to realize that which pitches of yours are really tough to see and hard for them to hit, and it really helps you think about execution and attacking.
Cespedes smacks one up the middle, and short center Forsythe throws wildly. And an infield single for Yoenis Cespedes to open the 8th.
It's an outstanding play here, and he knows he's got to get rid of it quick because Cespedes can run. Cody Bellinger rescues the error, but that's definitely a hit.
And it brings up Bruce. One and oh. Bruce hits it foul, and it's 1-1. Good tail to it, but couldn't quite find the corner, and Bruce ahead 2-1.
Keep the tying run from coming to the plate.
Two balls, two strikes, touched 99 with that fastball.
Pedro likes to finish hitters up in the strike zone with that velocity, and since that last one was low, perfect time to go up the ladder.
Barnes sets the target low and away here. And he hit the target. Bruce hit it foul.
And it was like a one wiggle, which could be a two-seamer that Pedro's throwing. Some of those fastballs in looked like they were cutting, but take a look at what they go with here. Fastball in. It's good battle from Bruce. Quality pitches right here from Pedro at a very high-end velocity.
Cespedes at first after the leadoff infield single. And another 2-2. Got him swinging.
Backup slider. He was trying to go down and in with the slider, make it look like the fastball in and then break down, and this one just Kind of falls off to first base and backs it up over there on the outside corner.
Pedro Baez here in his third full major league season, blossoming into a key piece of this bullpen. Runner at first and one out, and it's Travis d'Arnaud.
A lot of Pedro's pacing on the mound was really just himself being anxious about pulling the trigger on a pitch. Now with 3 pitches that he can go to at almost any time, it's about finding the pitch selection.
Got a pop up here. Austin Barnes to the on deck circle, short armed it.
Austin will tell you he should have done this a little bit better. Maybe try and get over there to the screening a little sooner and not get into the chop steps. But I'll tell you what, you feel the dirt and you feel the on deck circle below your feet, and it can give you some anxious moments.
It's a hard one to use the philosophy of getting there and feeling the wall just because it's all net.
Yeah. Can't use it to brace against.
Right. Runner at first with one out. Pedro Baez working against the 5-hitter and catcher Travis d'Arnaud. Wants this one inside, gets it there, grounded at third. Turner spikes it to second, one, laid at first. Thing took a crazy bounce on Turner, and he still calmly gloved it.
Ridiculous hands down there. Watch this last hop with the topspin. Boy, he reads it, and then I'm going the short way. I'm going to second, and Logan still giving him a chance for 2. Well done.
Heads over to short right. They put the shift on for Lucas Duda. Rick Honeycutt calling down to the bullpen where Kenley Jansen has joined Luis Avilan. They will call on Avilan to face the left-handed batting Duda. Dave Roberts with the left-handed batting Lucas Duda do up here.
Even though it's a left-on-left situation, the #1 out pitch from Luis is his changeup. And you look at those innings of 19 and strikeouts of 23. He has been locked in this year. Not afraid of any situation.
So here comes Duda, the powerful left-handed hitter. And the Dodgers with a 3-run lead after the solo homer from Jock Peterson. They got 2 runs on bases-loaded walks against the Mets bullpen last inning. Dodgers trying to go to 13-1 over their last 14 games. The Mets, meanwhile, are in danger of falling to 10 games below 500 for the first time in 3 seasons. Runner at first is Darno. Avilan starts him with a breaking pitch.
Love to see him start people off, especially the left-handed hitters, with that breaking ball. That shows some new confidence in that 3rd pitch.
Threw it again. 1-1.
An outstanding location to throw the first one for a strike and the second one a little bit off the plate.
There's the change, and it's 1-2.
Change up inside, a left-handed pitcher to a left-handed batter. Kind of invented by Tom Glavine at the end of his career when he became a Met and found out that the hitters were starting to pick up on all his other pitches. So he said, why don't I throw the changeup in? It lengthened Tom's career. A lot of times when hitters see the ball with true changeup or fastball spin coming to the inside, they think it's the harder pitch, and they start to open up, get the head out, and they'll pull the changeup foul even if they hit it.
Like Glavine, Avilan, time in the Braves organization. That's where he made his major league debut. He deals a 2-2, and Duda takes a change in the dirt to run it full. Just downstairs, and the Mets get the tying run to the plate here in the 8th. But Dave Roberts is going to call on the big fella. Kenley Jansen's ready to go.
The reason Dave Roberts is coming out is because of this call and this pitch, and it was just low.
So, California love.
themselves.
Kenley is in a zone. He has grown so much as a person and as a pitcher, a father, and he is bringing all those resources out to the hill now. Everything is in perspective for him, and he is executing at one of the highest levels I've ever seen a closer execute.
Jose Reyes, 2 big home runs in this series against Clayton Kershaw, and you know he'll be trying to unload on one here. Representing the tying run in the 8th with d'Arnaud at second and Duda at first. Jansen's first pitch of the night. Poke down the left field line, foul, and it's 0-1. Quickly 0-2.
About 90% of the time when a hitter faces Kenley Jansen, he knows what's coming. But it's still very hard to hit.
Let's have the tying run at the plate here. 2 outs in the 8th inning. Kenley Jansen looking for a 4-out save. Reyes pops it foul. Turner out of room. That's ball 1. Jansen and Barnes will come together.
Last time I saw Kenley meet with a catcher at this point in the game, he wanted to throw his slider, but he didn't want to have the signs be different or have a different rhythm to get to it.
That was against Cincinnati. Do you think the Mets know that?
Possibly, but I think it's just Kenley in his rhythm. He wants to look in, see that sign, and go.
The 1-2. It was the same thing.
It was a slider. He hung it, but he didn't want to have to shake 3-4 times to get to it. So as soon as he couldn't get it after the first shake, he said, I want to tell him what I want because I don't want to shake 3 and 4 times. This is the pitch I want to throw.
So at some point, very quickly, he's going to have to come up with a new way to get to that pitch.
I used to signal my catcher instead of the catcher signaling me.
Another 1-2. Reyes grounds it softly to first. Bellinger can't get it, and the bases are loaded.
That was a tweener for Cody Bellinger. Not as far as the difficulty of catching the ball as it was a ground ball, but deciding where he wants to go because he's got to turn around and go backwards to Kenley Jansen, who will be having to catch it almost kind of backwards with first base, and then he decides, I'm going to go to second. And then I think right in between, a little indecision distracted him.
The Dodgers during this run where they are 12-1 have committed only 2 errors. That is the 3rd over the last few weeks. Dave Roberts hoping Kenley Jansen can make it a distant memory here as Michael Conforto grabs a bat and stands in. Been the best hitter this year for the Mets, but struggling lately. Tying run on base. Go ahead run at the plate with 2 out in the 8th. Here comes Jansen's first one. A pop-up. Barnes is under this one, and on one pitch, Jansen sits Conforto down. The Mets leave them loaded to the bottom of the 8th in a 6-3 game.
Justin Turner goes yard. Jock Peterson wastes no time making a difference in this one. Dave Roberts looks like a genius as the way that he's managing this bullpen. After the game, Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers. John and Nomar and Ned break this one down. As always, so much to talk about en route of their 7th series sweep of the season, guys.
3 outs away from making that a reality. TJ Rivera comes in and plays second base here. And the Dodgers ready to begin this 8th inning the same way they did the 7th. That is with Peterson. The first pitch that he saw, he dropped into the right field pavilion for a tie-breaking homer.
That pop-up with the bases loaded that Kenley Jansen just got probably put a huge stake into the Mets' heart, knowing that he's going to probably come out in the 9th to finish it off, and he has been perfect in save opportunities. And they have just gotten pummeled in this series.
Nine 1-2 coming up for the Mets in the 9th inning. If Salas is able to keep it right here at 6-3, that will be against Kenley Jansen. Peterson strokes one into right, his second hit in as many innings.
He's starting to look like a different cat also. These young guys coming from AAA and help carrying his team, the Bellingers and the Taylors. And now Jock Peterson coming off the DL after his collision with Yasiel Puig in right center, the concussion DL. Quotes were that Jock's not coming back until the swing's right. Well, he came back a little early because of other injuries, and swing looks right.
Logan Forsythe trying to ride that same track. He's looked much better the last few days. A hit in 5 consecutive games. Prior to this run, this 5-game hitting streak for Forsythe, he hadn't even had a 3-game hitting streak this year. So finally looking like the guy that he's been the last couple of years in Tampa Bay, the guy the Dodgers traded for. Strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Down to get it, and it's 1-2. Mets will head up to San Francisco to take on the Giants, who did make a little late charge in that game in Atlanta, but fell 12-9. Giants are now 27-48. That's the second worst record in the National League. Only the Phillies worse. Forsythe down swinging for the first out of the 8th. And it brings up Corey Seager for his first at bat of the night.
Corey Seager.
And on a team full of hot hitters, this is one of the hottest. 3 home run game for him a couple nights ago. Dave Roberts giving him a day of rest, at least out of the starting lineup tonight. On the first one, he takes a fastball away.
Corey needs your help to make the All-Star team. He's doing his part. 3 home run night. A lot of national excitement around that night. Zach Cozart of the Reds to start at shortstop for the National League.
Dodgers haven't had a shortstop start the All-Star game since Bill Russell back in the early 80s, in the last All-Star game here at Dodger Stadium. Peterson at first with 1 out and a 2-0. That catches the corner, 2-1. You know, a week ago you could at least make the argument that Cozart was having the better season. I'm not sure you can anymore. Cozart has faded the last week or two. Seager suddenly swinging it better than he has at any point.
I think voting ends on June 29th. Still got some time.
All-Star game in Miami this year. Won't be a bad deal for Dodger players because that's where the Dodgers begin the second half. On 3-1, Seager hits it foul. Kershaw next goes Saturday night. Game 2 against the Rockies. They can hold on here. They'll have a 1.5 game lead starting that series tomorrow night. It would be the first time that the Dodgers finish a day with a lead greater than a half game. The payoff. A pop-up that will fade into the seats, and we'll do it again. Dodgers have only led for a total of 4 days, all between May 30th and June 3rd. Had a half game lead 4 different days. Best division in the National League, no question, is the West. Peterson at first with 1 out, and another payoff to Corey Seager. Jock runs. Seager swings and misses. Darno's throw gets him. Strike him out, throw him out to send us to the 9th. Kenley Jansen will try to shut it down and wrap up a series sweep. For this one tomorrow, for this series to begin, Dodgers and Rockies, and the probables brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. And the series opener to be Kyle Freeland, the rookie. Alex Wood is putting together an all-star case, unbeaten at 7-0 with a sub-2 ERA. Should be a ton of fun here at Dodger Stadium.
I remember when all we thought was when Clayton Kershaw pitches, something special could happen. Now I'm starting to think when Alex Wood pitches, something also special could happen.
So here we go for the 9th inning. Kenley Jansen trying to shut it down, and Rene Rivera to lead it off, pinch hitting out of the 9 spot. Strike one. Quickly 0-2. Strike throwing machine, Kenley Jansen. 50 strikeouts, no walks. That's a major league record to open a season. Rivera turns on one down the left field line. It's hooking. Wow.
That record has been Kenley's for quite a few outs.
Yeah, putting it farther and farther out of reach for everybody else that has any dreams of doing something like that. Kenley said that he recognizes how special that is, what he's doing, and that it's never been done before. Worth every cent of that big contract he signed this offseason thus far. Pitch is 0-2. Just inside for ball one. Mets in this game 3 single-run innings. The first, the fourth, and the 6th. Dodgers getting 3 in the 3rd, 3 in the 7th. 3 homers tonight, couple of bases loaded walks bringing in the runs. Rivera hits this ball in the air to left. That's playable for Kike Hernandez. 1 out. One of the only things the Dodgers won't miss about the Mets is Curtis Granderson, who's had a great series. Led off each of the last 2 games as solo homers. He's doubled each of the last 2 games as well. Going to make somebody a really nice trade deadline acquisition. Not just for what he's starting to do again with a bat, but the clubhouse presence, the veteran presence, one of the game's great leaders.
He will not melt down under any kind of pressure. Even if he ended up being a bench piece, a key ingredient off your bench to drive in a key run late.
A pop-up. Seager's under it. 2 out. Big number 74, and out away from giving the Dodgers their 7th consecutive win and a 4-game sweep of the Mets. Wilmer Flores, the last hope for New York. Kenley Jansen comes home to him and gets strike 1. Rockies coming in tomorrow, 3-game series starting at 7:10. Wood against Freeland. Through the slider there, and it's 1-1. Throwing more frequently than ever before lately. And here with a 3-run lead and the base is empty, perfect spot to test another out. Line to left, Hernandez lays out and makes the catch to finish off the sweep. A 4-game sweep of the Mets. A 7-game winning streak. They've won 13 of 14. Mets say hold the phone. Let's double check this. Confirmation. And it is over. The Dodgers have swept the New York Mets.
Kenley's 7th appearance where he went more than an inning. He's getting a win and now 6 saves. He is perfect on the year.
Lexus play of the game, courtesy Jock Peterson on the first pitch of the 7th inning. A tie-breaking solo shot. The 15th and final home run of this 4-game series for the Dodgers, which sets a franchise record for the most homers in a 4-game set. For Earl Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Dodger Stadium. For the homer-happy Dodgers, keep on rolling. A 6-3 win tonight. Access Sportsnet, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers, begins right now.